Hey everyone, it's Jacqueline for Pixie Dust PhD. Aside from normal park hours, you may be able to access what are called extra magic hours. Whether or not you qualify to take advantage of these extra magic hours, or even decide to use them or not, you'll want to know about extra magic hours in order to help plan your trip. We'll go over all of the need-to-know details in today's video. Extra magic hours are offered to guests who are staying on property. This means folks staying in hotels owned and operated by Walt Disney World, as well as a few other hotels around the resort area. For example, other hotels with this benefit include the Swan, the Dolphin, Shades of Green, the Waldorf Astoria, the Four Seasons, Hilton Bonnet Creek, and all of the official Disney Springs Resort area hotels. Access to extra magic hours for non-Walt Disney World owned and operated hotels is often renegotiated on a year-to-year basis, so if you're staying at one of those hotels, be sure to check out their website to be sure if you do or do not have access to extra magic hours. Walt Disney World also has an official list of participant hotels on their website. On certain days of the week, guests are able to access these extra magic hours. Morning extra magic hours are typically 1 hour before official park open, and evening extra magic hours are typically open for about 2 hours after official park close. And if it's a very busy time of year, like around the holidays, or if a new ride or land is opening, Disney will often add additional extra magic hours to several parks, or that park if it's for a ride or land, in order to accommodate all of the extra guests and try to spread as much magic as possible. The days and theme parks with morning or evening extra magic hours are subject to change, and they do change relatively often. Check out the official Walt Disney World calendar in order to stay up to date. In order to access extra magic hours, you do need valid theme park admission for the day. You don't need a separate ticket for extra magic hours. This is a bonus perk that is free, sort of as a thank you for staying at one of these hotels, but you do need valid normal park admission for the day. You will also need to prove that you're staying at one of these hotels that has access to extra magic hours. For the most part, this reservation will be linked to your magic band, and you can simply scan your magic band. Some specifics about morning extra magic hours. These function essentially as early admission to the park. For example, if normal park open is at 8 a.m., then the extra magic hours for that park would run from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. During this time, between 7 and 8 a.m., only guests with access to extra magic hours through their hotel reservation will be able to enter the park. When the parks are crowded during especially busy times of year, these extra magic hours in the morning can truly be a lifesaver. Although these are offered to tens of thousands of guests who are staying on property, a lot of folks are not willing to wake up that early in order to get to the parks for extra magic hours. So that first hour in the morning becomes exclusive not only just to certain hotel guests, but also to those who are willing to wake up in time to get there for rope drop. And on the flip side, let's talk about some specifics for evening extra magic hours. In morning extra magic hours, normal day guests won't have access to the park because you'll be scanning in before any of them are let in. This obviously is not true for evening extra magic hours. Instead, the normal day guests are already in the park, and generally speaking, they aren't forcibly kicked out. They just aren't able to access any of the attractions. So if you have access to evening extra magic hours, typically you will scan your magic band at any attraction you want to go on to prove that you have access to this extra time in the park. If you are park hopping that day though, and you'll be moving to the park with evening extra magic hours around the time that they start, it will be pretty similar to the morning extra magic hours process where you will scan your magic band in at the turnstiles and they will confirm that you have access to these evening extra magic hours. Evening extra magic hours do tend to be slightly more crowded than morning extra magic hours, largely because the activation of getting up super early to go to morning extra magic hours is quite the deterrent for a lot of people, as opposed to just staying in the parks for an extra hour, staying out a little bit later is a much easier ask. So what attractions are open during extra magic hours? Not all attractions are open during extra magic hours, and this list is subject to change. Be sure to visit the official Walt Disney World website when considering your trip. For morning extra magic hours at the Magic Kingdom, the following attractions are currently open and operating. Astro Orbiter, Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger Spin, the Carousel of Progress, Space Mountain, the People Mover, Tomorrowland Speedway, the Barnstormer, Dumbo, It's a Small World, the Mad Tea Party, the Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh, Under the Sea, Journey of the Little Mermaid, Peter Pan's Flight, Prince Charming's Carousel, Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. And often, but not always, various characters with an inside set will do meet and greets, including Ariel at her grotto, Tinkerbell, and the princesses in Princess Fairy Tale Hall. Evening extra magic hours at the Magic Kingdom include everything from the morning except for not the Carousel of Progress, Prince Charming's Carousel, and the People Mover. And then in addition, there are a few other attractions that are open in the evening. These include Big Thunder Mountain Railroad, Country Bear Jamboree, Haunted Mansion, Magic Carpets of Aladdin, Monsters Inc. Laugh Floor, Pirates of the Caribbean, and sometimes the Swiss Family Treehouse. At Hollywood Studios, attractions open for morning and evening extra magic hours are actually the same. These include everything in Toy Story Land, so Alien Swirling Saucers, Toy Story Mania, and Slinky Dog Dash. Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run, Star Tours, Rock and Roller Coaster, and the Tower of Terror. Attractions open at Animal Kingdom for morning extra magic hours include both of the rides in Pandora, so Navi River Journey and Flight of Passage, Expedition Everest, Dinosaur, Triceratops Spin, It's Tough to Be a Bug, and subject to availability, the Gorilla Falls Exploration Trails may be open, and the Kilimanjaro Safari Ride may also be open. Animal Kingdom doesn't really do evening extra magic hours, so no worries about what attractions will be open then. Morning extra magic hours at EPCOT only include a few attractions, but notably it does include all of the big ticket items for now. This includes Frozen Ever After, Test Track, Soarin', Spaceship Earth, Living with the Land, The Seas with Nemo and Friends, and Project Tomorrow. Evening extra magic hours at EPCOT include everything from the morning, plus Turtle Talk with Crush, Mission Space, Journey into Imagination, plus a plethora of the attractions available at the countries in World Showcase. So let's talk about crowds during extra magic hours. In general, you'll find a lot of advice that says to avoid an extra magic hours park as they tend to be crowded. The canonical advice is to do extra magic hours in the morning, and then if you have a park hopper ticket, go ahead and move parks for the rest of the day. My last trip to Walt Disney World was with base tickets, meaning that I couldn't actually park hop after extra magic hours in the morning. Anecdotally, I can say yes, I do think parks with morning extra magic hours feel a little more crowded throughout the day than if you go to a park that doesn't have that morning extra magic hour. That being said, you still get that extra hour in the morning, and for me personally, I think it's worth it to deal with the crowds later in the day. And like everything else with the Walt Disney World trip, there is of course some strategy that you can employ. Aside from park hopping, there are other aspects to consider when looking at your trip. For example, doing an evening extra magic hours one day and then the next day doing a morning extra magic hours can be extremely taxing. And even if they're not that close together, let's say you're doing morning extra magic hours on back-to-back days, well, that can really add up. It can be very tolling. So have a frank and honest conversation with your travel party to see if this is something folks are willing to do. Are you willing to stay up late and get up early, or get up early multiple days in a row? Particularly with morning extra magic hours, to really take full advantage of that hour, you're going to want to rope drop. And by rope drop, I mean you'll want to be there before the park is officially open. So if morning extra magic hours start at 7 a.m., you probably want to be there by 6:30. Waking up early enough to be at the front of a park a half hour or more before it opens is quite the task for some people, and it may not be worth it for you and your party. Another strategy to consider is how you're going to combine utilizing extra magic hours and your fast passes. If you have park hopper tickets, consider doing morning extra magic hours at one park, and then make your fast passes for later in the day at your second park. This way you'll be able to go on the fast pass line for rides when crowds are highest in the middle of the day at your second park. If you're weighing your options between going to evening or morning extra magic hours, note that generally evening extra magic hours actually have more attractions open. Additionally, evening extra magic hours are generally longer, and furthermore, evening extra magic hours often will have more dining options, both quick service and table service, available to you. And all of this being taken into account, if you do not have access to extra magic hours, or you simply won't be utilizing them even if you do have access, note that extra magic hours do typically affect crowd levels. So you may want to consider avoiding parks with extra magic hours on those days to minimize crowds. So there's a basic overview of extra magic hours at Walt Disney World. If you're staying at certain hotels, you can take advantage of these extra magic hours for free to extend the magic. But even if you aren't utilizing extra magic hours, you may want to know when they're happening in order to factor them and the crowds that they might bring into your plans for your upcoming trip. If you found this information helpful, I hope you'll leave a like on the video and consider subscribing to the channel. And if you want to interact in more informal ways, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at PixieDustPhD. Do you enjoy extra magic hours? Are those something you typically utilize on your trips? Do you prefer extra magic hours in the morning or the evening? Or do you just avoid them altogether? Let us know in the comments below to help folks plan their most perfect Walt Disney World trip. And until next time, we'll see you real soon at PixieDustPhD.